E&Y Transport. Our mission is to grow a safe, trusting, and long-lasting partnership in the local transportation industry. Motor Vehicle Drivers Policy Manual. General applicability. This manual sets forth the policies of E&Y Transport, Inc., hereinafter referred to as company, as to the use and maintenance of company-owned and leased vehicles. It is not an employment contract and should not be construed or interpreted to grant or confirm any rights or benefits of employment. The information contained herein is subject to change and/or deletion without prior notice, although the company will try to notify you of changes as they occur. The information contained in this manual is the most current at this time and supersedes all previous manuals and policy statements by the company. Department of Transportation Regulations. This manual is intended to cover all vehicles operated by the company and to be complementary with, not a substitute for, the Department of Transportation's Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, the DOT regulations. All company vehicles and drivers subject to the jurisdiction of the DOT regulations will be subject to the DOT regulations as well as the rules in this manual. If the same subject matter is covered by a DOT regulation and this manual, the stricter of the two shall govern. In the event of a direct conflict between this manual and the DOT regulations, the DOT regulations shall govern. Non-discrimination. The provisions of this policy manual will be administered on a non-discriminatory basis without regard to a person's race, color, religion, age, sex, national origin, or ancestry. Section 2. Driver qualifications. General. All employees driving company vehicles on a regular or recurring basis must have a current appropriate driver's license and a satisfactory motor vehicle record, MVR. For purpose of assessing whether an MVR is satisfactory, moving traffic offenses are classified in the following categories. Group A violations. Leaving the scene of an accident. Driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Driving while ability impaired by alcohol or drugs. Speed contests. Eluding a police officer. Reckless driving. Speeding over a posted limit by 20 or more miles per hour. Use of a vehicle in or during the commission of a felony. Driving while license suspended or revoked. Group B violations. Careless driving. Following too closely. Failure to report an accident to the supervisor. Speeding over the posted limit by less than 15 miles per hour. Failure to stop for school or school bus signals. Group C violations. All other moving violations, including operating an unsafe or defective vehicle and unlawful alteration of a vehicle, but excluding lane designation violations, seatbelt violations, and licensing improprieties. The appearance of a violation on an employee's MVR shall be presumptive evidence of the stated violation. The company, in its sole and absolute discretion, may ignore any plea bargaining, dismissals, or other disposition of a citation and treat such citation as though there was a conviction on the charges set forth in the original citation. If an employee or applicant is involved in an accident for which no official citation is issued, for whatever reason, the company may nevertheless issue a reprimand or assign a violation to it if it deems the driver or applicant to be at fault. Any such reprimand or violation assignment will be treated as an official violation for purposes of the employee's or applicant's MVR. Violations shall be treated the same regardless of whether they are committed in a company vehicle or a personal vehicle or during the course of company business or personal business. CDL drivers. Under the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, or FMCSR, all violations received while driving any vehicle, both commercial and non-commercial vehicles, must be counted towards the disqualification of a driver to operate a commercial vehicle. A CDL driver's complete MVR will be reviewed as a whole record as outlined in the FMCSA Driver Safety Regulations, with potential disqualifications as outlined in these regulations. New hires. No person whose job version requirements include driving a company vehicle will be hired until his MVR has been reviewed. The applicant cannot be hired if, in the immediately preceding 3 years, there are any Group A violations or 3 or more violations of any kind, or, in the immediately preceding 2 years, there are any Group B violations or 2 or more violations of any kind. Employees driving essential. This section sets forth the procedures for employees driving company vehicles as an essential part of his or her duties. The following violations will be cause for immediate discharge. Any Group A violation. Any Group B violation if within the preceding 24 months there has been any Group A or Group B violation, or if there have been any two other moving violations. Any moving violation if, within the 12 months immediately preceding the violation, there have been two other violations of any kind, or within the immediately preceding 24 months, there has been a Group B violation, or within the immediately preceding 36 months, there has been any three other moving violations. Notwithstanding the other provisions of this Section 2.03, management shall have the right in its sole and absolute discretion to deny the driving privilege to any employee for any reason it deems appropriate, including but not limited to medical reasons, insurance company direction, or an MVR which, while in technical compliance with the standards above, is, when viewed as a whole, indicative of a poor driving risk. Any employee who has at least 1 year of exemplary service with the company and who is subject to discharge under Section 2.03 above may, with the recommendation of a superior, apply to the company's president for a waiver of discharge. Any such waiver, which will be in the discretion of the president after taking into account the entire service record and driving record of the employee, will provide for at least a 1-week suspension without pay and the imposition of a probationary period of no less than 6 months. Any violation during the probationary period will lead to mandatory discharge. Employees driving non-essential. Employees who drive company vehicles on a regular or recurring basis, but not as an essential part of their job requirements, will be subject to the same rules as in Section 2.03 above, except that the penalty of termination of employment will be changed to revoking of driving privileges. The penalty of suspension from work without pay will be changed to suspension of driving privileges for 30 days. Whether driving is an essential part of a job description will be determined in the sole and absolute discretion of company management. Reinstatement. Any employee whose employment or driving privileges are terminated under this article may, but need not, be reinstated at such time as he or she would qualify as a new hire under Section 2.02. Notification of violations. Every employee who drives a company vehicle on a regular or recurring basis must report to the office any citation for a violation or alleged violation of a motor vehicle law or ordinance other than violations involving only parking. The report must be made within 3 days and must be accompanied by a legible copy of the citation. Any failure to comply with this section will cause the violation which was not reported to be reclassified from a Group C violation to a Group B violation, or from a Group B violation to a Group A violation, as the case may be. MVR Review. On or about January 2nd and July 1st of every year, the company will reorder MVRs for every employee driving a company vehicle on a regular or recurring basis. If the company is unable to obtain an MVR directly from the State Motor Vehicle Department, the employee will obtain a current MVR for the company on request. Falsification or misrepresentation of an MVR will be grounds for immediate termination of employment. Each MVR will be reviewed to verify driver compliance with the company's MVR qualification requirements. This function will be performed by the office. Along with the semi-annual MVR review, each driver's motor vehicle license will be reviewed for expiration. CDL drivers complete, that's commercial and personal MVR, will be reviewed as a whole record as outlined in the FMCSA Driver Safety Regulations, Subpart D, Section 383.51. Certification of violations, annual review of driving record attached as Appendix A. Below evaluation tool to be used. If the driver is under 21 years of age, 0 total points is good. 1 is marginal, 2 or more, unacceptable. If the driver is between 21 and 24 years of age, 1 point or less is good, 2 to 3, marginal, 4 or more, unacceptable. If the driver is between 25 and 64 years of age, 2 or less points are good, 3 to 5, marginal, and 6 or more, unacceptable. If the driver is over 65, 1 or less is good, 2 to 5, marginal, 6 or more, unacceptable. Points totals are based on a 3-year driving history. Point system. Minor moving violations are worth 1 point. Major, 2 points. Serious, 6 points. And accidents, a total 3 points. Violation grouping examples are provided below. Be advised that this is not intended to address all violations, but to offer guidelines on which violations fall into each category above. Note that any serious violation immediately makes the driver unacceptable. Minor violations include seatbelt violation, equipment-related violations, such as lights, signals, mirrors, etc. Violation of basic rules. Speeding 15 miles per hour over the posted limit. Major violations include speeding 15 to 25 miles per hour over the limit, passing-related, turn-related, failure to yield right-of-way, following too close, cell phone-related, passing a school bus when lights are flashing. Serious violations include driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, refusing substance abuse testing, reckless driving, eluding a police officer, drag racing, road rage, etc. Vehicle-related felony, hit and run, manslaughter, assault, etc. Driving with a suspended license. Accident violations include all accidents should be evaluated, not just those occurring on the job. Any crash deemed to have been preventable. Keep in mind that very few accidents are considered non-preventable. Accidents where the driver is cited or found to be at fault to any degree. Accidents where the driver is clearly not at fault, being rear-ended, collision while parked, equipment-related, etc., may be excluded. The following chart is based on a 3-year driving history and shows how the number of violations along with the number of preventable accidents affect a driver's MVR. Any serious violation constitutes a poor MVR. Driver's licenses. All employees driving a company vehicle on a regular or recurring basis will be required to provide a copy of his or her current driver's license for inclusion in his or her personnel file. Each driver is required to keep his or her driver's license current and to provide the office with a legible copy of any new driver's license. Vehicle maintenance. General. The company is committed to a program of regular, comprehensive maintenance of its motor vehicles, both as a means of reducing fleet operating cost and, more importantly, to reduce the risk of accidents caused by faulty equipment. For pool vehicles, maintenance is the responsibility of the service manager. Failure to properly maintain a vehicle is grounds for disciplinary action as well as revocation of driving privileges. No vehicle is to be driven with any defect or irregularity which may compromise safety. Vehicle files. The office will keep a separate file for every vehicle belonging to the company. This file will contain all maintenance reports and information. Each vehicle file must be kept for at least 6 months after retirement of the vehicle. Daily pre-drive inspection. All motor vehicles shall be subjected to a daily inspection before being driven. If a driver is to drive a vehicle which has previously been driven on that day by another driver, he or she should not assume that the daily inspection has been performed. He or she must perform the entire inspection before operating the vehicle. In addition to the daily inspection, the following items must be checked after every break in use of the vehicle, such as after stopping for fuel or before returning home at the end of the day. Tires, paying particular attention to inside dual tires. Load tie-down. Trailer hitches and safety chains. Any irregularities making the vehicle dangerous to drive or increasing the possibility of breakdown detected during the inspection must be corrected before operating the vehicle. Daily post-driving inspection. DOT-regulated vehicles. For any vehicles subject to the DOT regulations, a daily inspection report listing all defects is required to be completed and signed at the end of each workday. The daily report required after the vehicle has been driven is attached hereto as Appendix A. This report must list any defect or deficiency which would affect the safety of operation or result in the vehicle's mechanical breakdown. If there are any defects affecting the safety of operation of the vehicle noted on the report, the vehicle cannot be driven until the defects are corrected. Procedures on reporting problems on trucks and trailers. Hours to report problems are during shop hours, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. There are 3 ways to report a maintenance problem to truck or trailer. Number 1, call the office and report the problem to office or shop personnel. They will then place an inspection sheet on the board. Number 2, drivers can fill out an inspection sheet with the noted problem to truck or trailer and then place the sheet on the shop board located in the shop. Number 3, report problem to the supervisor. Management is the only one to determine if it is safe to continue to drive. If the problem is reported, the driver is not held responsible. They will not lose their safety bonus. If a violation occurs without a report being made prior, driver will not qualify for the safety bonus. Periodic maintenance. The service manager must see that all manufacturer's recommended inspections are performed at the designated intervals. DOT inspection. The drivers of all vehicles subject to the inspection, repair, and maintenance requirements of Part 396 of the DOT regulations shall be familiar with those regulations and comply with them in all respects. Mechanical facilities. Vehicles operated in areas where the company has shop facilities and mechanics will be serviced by the company mechanics unless otherwise directed by a supervisor because of time constraints or because the service is not within the capability or capacity of the mechanic or facility. All other work is to be performed at shops or facilities designated by the service manager or his or her superiors. No mechanical work other than fluid changes and other routine maintenance are to be performed by non-mechanic employees unless approved in advance by the service manager. Such approval is not to be given if the service manager has any doubt about the ability of the employee to competently and safely perform the work. Expense records. Each vehicle will have a monthly maintenance and expense record in office. All fuel, oil, maintenance, and mileage information will be included. Cleaning. All company vehicles must be kept clean, inside and out, at all times. The inside must be cleared of all trash at the end of each day, and the inside and outside must be washed on a regular basis, as needed. No pool vehicle is to be turned in without the inside cleared of all trash. Signs. No bumper stickers, window stickers, emblems, decals, or signs other than those issued by the company are to be affixed to any company vehicles. Vehicle operating rules. Seat belts. Seat belts are to be worn by all vehicle occupants at all times, regardless of trip length. Passengers. Company vehicles are not to be used to carry passengers unless they are employees of the company or directly related to company business. Under no circumstances, except extreme emergencies involving life or bodily injury, are company vehicles to carry hitchhikers. Fines and tickets. All fines, tickets, and penalties for traffic violations are the responsibility of the individual driver, not the company. The only exceptions to this are tickets for overweight vehicles and delinquent or defective registration, so long as such tickets are not caused by the driver's failure to follow company policies. Company use. Unless otherwise specifically authorized by a president or vice president of the company, company vehicles are to be driven only by authorized employees of the company for company business, except that personal use is allowed for the following purposes. Commuting to and from work by employees having assignment of a company vehicle. Incidental, minimal personal business conducted during the course of commuting allowed above. For example, stopping for a haircut or groceries on the way home from work. On jobs involving overnight stays, employees may use company vehicles for travel between job sites, nearby restaurants and motels, and to attend other incidental local personal business. If company vehicles are used for this purpose, no alcoholic beverages may be consumed at any location from which the employee intends to drive a company vehicle. For example, if an employee intends to drive a company vehicle from his or her motel to a nearby restaurant and back again, he or she may consume no alcoholic beverages with the meal. Alcoholic beverages. Drugs. Under no circumstances is a company vehicle to be operated while the driver is under the influence of any alcoholic beverage or drugs, nor are any alcoholic beverages or unlawful drugs to be consumed or carried open in any company vehicle. If a company vehicle is used for commuting, as allowed above, stopping at bars, taverns, or other drinking establishment for the purpose of consuming alcoholic beverages is prohibited. Employees driving company vehicles during non-working hours on jobs involving overnight stays must abstain entirely from alcoholic beverages. If an employee on such a job wishes to frequent a drinking establishment or consume alcoholic beverages with dinner, he or she must walk, take a cab, or arrange other means of transportation. Laws, rules, and regulations. Drivers shall, at all times, obey all local, state, federal, and client traffic laws, ordinances, rules, and regulations. Personal vehicles. Employees using their own vehicles for company business are required to maintain adequate insurance coverage in force at all times with minimum limits as determined by the company. A certificate of insurance shall be provided to the company prior to the business use of that vehicle. Locking of vehicles. All company vehicles left unattended, regardless of the length of time, are to be locked. New drivers. All employees being asked to drive a company vehicle larger than a 3/4-ton pickup truck for the first time will be given a road test by an experienced driver. Larger company vehicles are to be driven by the most experienced driver available for driving duty. No employee shall be assigned to drive a company vehicle unless he is capable of driving the type of vehicle being assigned. Accident. Accident prevention. Backing. Get out and check the area. Never try to back from blindside. Back slow. Get reliable help. Low clearance. Know the height of your equipment. Be wary of all underpasses. Obey all clearance signs and proceed slowly. In delivery areas, watch for low tree limbs, wires, and overhangs on buildings. Right turns. Always watch for vehicles in blind spots. Use turn signals. Watch for passing traffic on right and proceed slowly. Passing. Using turn signals well in advance of lane changes. Move out and return to lane with caution and proper spacing. Intersections. 9 out of 10 accidents happen at intersections. Be prepared to stop, go slow, watch for traffic from all sides, and use signals. Even though you might have the right of way, that doesn't keep you from being involved in a preventable accident. Mirrors. Mirrors should be adjusted properly to minimize your blind areas and should be used when changing lanes, turning, backing, and regularly during normal driving. Off-road. While delivering, be alert for uneven ground, ditches, and soft spots that may get you stuck or upset your vehicle. Speeding. Per GPS monitoring, any driver speeding more than 10 and less than 15 miles per hour will receive a written warning. At 15 miles per hour plus, the driver will receive a write-up and possible suspension. Safety is the most important part of your job. If it isn't done safely, then it isn't done properly. Drive defensively and carefully at all times. Winter driving. Rain, sleet, snow, and ice covering the road can cause loss of traction, a dangerous skid, jackknife, or all of the above. When driving in inclement weather, you should, number 1, reduce your speed. The slower you drive, the more traction or grip your tires will have on the road. Number 2, select the proper gear before going up or downhill. Number 3, slow down well in advance of turns, intersections, bridges, and railroad crossings. Number 4, apply brakes lightly and intermittently, pumping them gradually. Avoid panic braking that will lock up wheels and cause skidding. Number 5, increase following distance. Be on the lookout for other vehicles that may be stopped, slowed down, or skidding. Number 6, be alert that the north side of hills freezes before the south side does. Also, be aware that roads going through cuts and over bridges will freeze before other road surfaces. Number 7, do not use Jacob's engine brake or Jake brake during slippery conditions. Please remember, to avoid a skid, you must read road conditions, slow down, use light braking and steering actions, and don't get caught in a panic situation. When driving in winter conditions, you must use extra caution, patience, and common sense. Back road and farm driving. When you're off the main road or on farms, you should, number 1, reduce speed enough for road and weather conditions to proceed safely. Number 2, use headlights day and night for better visibility. This is for more than just to see, it is to be seen. Number 3, watch for sinkholes or erosion of roadway. Back roads are not maintained as well as the main roads are. Number 4, be alert and watch for children, farm personnel, deer, and livestock. Any can dart in front of you with little or no warning. Number 5, when making turns from narrow roadways onto other narrow roadways, make sure to reduce speed, check your mirrors, and proceed slowly and with the utmost caution. Always remember that safety begins with you. Slow down, use caution, and stay alert. Accident reporting. Every accident involving a company vehicle, even if there are no bodily injuries or property damage, must be reported to the employee's supervisor immediately after occurrence. Each such accident shall also be immediately reported by the supervisor to the president, which will direct the driver's supervisor to prepare a full and complete accident report if involves damage of any kind to the company's vehicle, any other vehicle, or any other property of any kind, involves injury or death to any person or animal, or involves another vehicle occupied by a driver or passenger, regardless of whether there is any damage or apparent bodily injuries. All insurance-related communications will be made solely by the president. Drivers and supervisors are not to contact the company's insurance carriers. Accident kits. Each company vehicle is to at all times have on board an official company accident kit, which sets forth the procedures to be followed and the forms to be completed in the event of any reportable accident. Compliance with the accident kit is mandatory in the event of a reportable accident. Post-accident suspension and/or reinstatement. Any employee driving a company vehicle involved in an accident will, immediately upon the occurrence of such accident, have company driving privileges suspended until such time as the President authorizes the resumption of such privileges. This applies to all accidents that are reportable under Section 5.01 of the Motor Vehicle Driver's Policy Manual. All company-issued equipment, such as headsets, gas cards, and uniforms, shall be turned into office until investigation of accident is complete. Reinstatement of driving privileges will not be considered until the President receives an accident report from the driver's supervisor. If the President concludes that the accident was not the fault of the employee, driving privileges will be reinstated immediately and the driver will be paid $75 per normal working day driving privileges was suspended. If the accident is judged to be the fault of the employee will not be paid for days driving privileges was suspended, will forfeit the quarterly safety bonus, and MVR will be reviewed to determine if a longer-term suspension is required under the Motor Vehicles Driving Policy Manual. E&Y Transport, Inc. Bonus System. Safety Quarter Bonuses. $150. Terms. Must have no write-ups the whole quarter. Yearly bonus. $500. Terms. Must have received all 4 quarter bonuses to receive the yearly bonus. Driver must be employed with company on January 1st of the bonus year to qualify for the yearly bonus. Conditions that will cause you to lose your bonus privileges. Anything that costs the company money due to driver error, such as if you hit a deer and we have to replace anything on the truck, that's driver error. If you receive any type of traffic violation ticket due to driver error. Any DOT violation, unless previously been reported to service manager. If assistance has to be called to a farm of any kind, tow truck or serviceman, because of driver error. Example, when backing up and you run off the road and have to be pulled out. Any farm-related issue, such as if a bin lid is damaged, load ticket problems due to driver error, spilled feed, etc. E&Y Transport. Our mission is to grow a safe, trusting, and long-lasting partnership in the local transportation industry.